This is Dom from BlackToad Studios, and here are my 2,000 points of Astra Militarum, or the Guard if you're an old school player. So over here we've got my battalion. So let's go through it here. We've got a tank commander with a battle cannon on the Lehman Russ and a las cannon. Behind him we've got the three troop choices of Militarum Tempestus, or Scions, all armed basically. Got chainswords on the sergeants of the squads, but everyone there's got a hotshot las gun. Behind him we got Torx Primes with the Gattlers and autocannons. At the front here we've got our HQ, which is the Tempestus Prime. Here he is, the plasma pistol. We've got the command squad and the elite. So we've got a medic and two plasma guns and a basic guy. Over this side we've got the fast choice. We have got a basic hellhound with a heavy bolter, and we've got a chem dog there, or a bane wolf with the heavy flamer and a heavy stubber. Over here we have got the spearhead detachment. So we've got a tank commander with in a vanquisher with a las cannon. We have got a Lehman Russ demolisher with las cannon, two plasma cannons. Behind here we've got a punisher with a las cannon and multi-melters. We have got two exterminators with the auto cannons, and they're all equipped with heavy bolters all over them. And that's my 2,000 points. We have got 7 command points to use. Hopefully we're not going to need to use all of them, but we will see. Let's have a look to see what Daryl's bringing with his Nurgle. Right, so here we are. We've got 2,000 points of Nurgle, and it is looking very gooey and very nasty. Daryl, do you want to run through what you're bringing today?
Absolutely. So I've got a battalion myself, but I've also got a patrol attachment of demons. So it's all just intermixed at the moment.
Yep.
So in front of you right now, you've got 25 plague bearers with the banner bearer and the instrument there as well.
Yep. Okay.
And at the front, you've got the Herald of Nurgle as their HQ.
So Herald at the front. This one here. So HQ. We've got the troop choice here.
Absolutely. And then right at the back, I have my Fordwell Decimator Engine. It's the first time I've got to use him in 8th, so wait and see what the new rules are like.
He is looking very nice. The butcher cannon there. Yeah, butcher cannon, very nice.
And then across from that we have my first troop choice of the battalion, which is a squad of 7 Plague Marines with 2 plasma guns, and the champion has a Plague Sword.
Right, very nice. And they're rocking up in this Rhino?
Absolutely, Rhino with a combi bolter.
Combi bolter there, okay.
Okay, so part of the battalion, I've got 3 HQs. So the first is just in front of them.
Yep.
Which is the Malignant Plaguecaster. So I think I mentioned in the video against Tom, I haven't quite got the new model done yet, but he is stepping into that as a Malignant Plaguecaster.
I think he can step in quite nicely here. It's a very nice model there. I love the wings on him. He's looking very tasty. And
then across from that, I have my Lord of Contagion. You might remember him from the previous game. Did very well. Hopefully do the same. And then behind them is my third and final HQ for this, which is my Winged Demon Prince.
Okay, so yeah, very nice. And then coming over here, we've got another squad of Plague Marines.
That's it, so
exactly
the same.
Yep.
2 plasma guns and a Plague Sword, and the champion in a Rhino again.
Very nice, that's a good centre there. And then over here we've got the Scum.
Yep, so just 20 cultists, just nice filler. They might do something, they might not. Behind them, again, kind of testing out in 8, see what they're like now. 2 greater blight drones, so
right,
the bigger cousin of the new ones from Dark Imperium.
Very nice. And how many command points are you bringing today with this army?
So the battalion gives me 3.
Yep.
Because I'm Battle Force, I get an extra 3, so I only have 6 in total.
6. Okay, so a very nice amount there, and a very intimidating force here. Let's move on to the mission and deployment. So here we are, both sides have now deployed. Today we're going to be playing the first mission, Invasion, from the Fate of Konor global campaign. So BlackToad Studios will be taking a part in it. And the first mission is Invasion. So over here on this right flank, you've got 12-inch deployment, and the forces at Nurgle are deployed over here. Over on this side, the Imperium forces are defending. We've got 24 inches in. Of course, the Guard decided not to push all the way up to the front, but we've got a lot of room for manoeuvring here. So the idea of this mission will be for the attacking forces to get themselves into the Imperial deployment, and of course, Imperial forces have got to stop that. We'll put a link below to where you can find the mission itself. on the GW community page. Go and check it out. It's a really fun looking mission. Looking forward to playing it as well. So we're going to run through Imperial deployment quickly. Over on this left flank we have got the Taurox primes. In this one here we've got the command squad, the prime and the basic squad. And we've got two basic squads in there. We've got the 10 commander and Leman Russ there. We've got a heavy centre here with the Russes, another tank commander here, demolisher there, and over here on the right flank we have got the two hellhounds there. So pretty standard stuff. We're going to see how that plays out. Moving across, we then have a squad of Death Guard here in the Rhino on the left flank. We've got the big centre here of Plague Bearers, very intimidating with some of their special rules. We've got a Decimator engine backing them up. We have got the two Blight drones here, or the Greater Blight drones. We've got some cultists. We have got the Plague Caster there, Death Guard and the Demon Prince there. In reserve, the HQ is in his teleporter bay at the moment, getting ready to strike down. It's going to be a very interesting game. At the moment, the Chaos Forces will be going first, because in this mission the attacking force always goes first, unless the Imperial defenders can seize. So here we go, on a 6. Come on. No, so over to turn 1 for the Death Guard. Turn 1 movement for the Nurgle forces, and over here a very swift advance with the Plague drones. They get an extra 9 inches before the game started, so they moved up here very close to the Leman Russ tank commander. Demon Prince there. Lord of Contagion has deep striked in here using his teleporter ability. Rhinos pushed up here. Cultists with the Plague Caster have come in there. The Decimator charging up the battlefield there. Plague Bearers with the Herald got a very good advance. I think they got 6 inches, and they're moving straight into the guns of the Leman Russes, hoping their Plague Swords are able to do some damage with that quantity as well. I'm pretty sure they can do some damage. Moving over this side, the other Rhino doing a bit of a flank move here, moving in to take on the Hellhounds. Right, so that's the movement. We're going to move on to Psychic and Shooting for the forces of Nurgle to see what they can do. Turn 1, Psychic and Shooting. Miasma of Pestilence was cast upon the Rhino from the source, from the Plaguecaster back here, sorry. So that's a -1 to hit when firing at this. We also had a Smite cast from the Demon Prince onto the Russ, doing 3 damage to it. The Russ was then shot at by the Plague drones using their main cannons and did a bit of damage on there as well, taking him down to 5 wounds. And that was pretty much it. We have firing coming in also from the Butcher Cannon, from Decimator, strength 8, very intimidating, straight onto the Punisher. Unable, unfortunately for him though, the Punisher's armour was able to withstand that. Also, Cultists fired their auto guns as well, firing their Kalashnikovs, as it were, to the Punisher, bouncing off, not doing anything there. We had a bit of sporadic firing as well, with the Combi Bolter firing in, not doing anything. So we're going to move on to Assault. I believe there's going to be a bit of assault here, especially with those there, and the Demon Prince, and possibly the big guy himself. So let's move on to turn 1 Assault for the forces of Nurgle. Turn 1 Assault for Nurgle. This Demon Prince declared a charge. He was charging in, the Gatler and the autocannon took out 1 wound on the Demon Prince. Demon Prince then got into combat and smashed the living bejesus out of this Taurox. The Taurox then fought back and did another wound. So he's down to 6 wounds on the Demon Prince there. Moving across here, the Plague drones came in, and unfortunately for the Nurgle forces, they can fluffed all their attacks, and likewise for the Leman Russ, so nothing happened there, although it has been locked up. Moving across the battle, we have got over on this flank the Rhino roared into the Hellhounds here, both looking quite intimidating, and I think the Rhino took 1 wound and that was it. So that's that for turn 1 for Nurgle. We're going to move on to turn 1 for the Guard and see if they can repel these pestilent enemies. Turn 1 movement for the guard. And over here, Taurox is reversed the best it can, only moving 6 inches now with 1 wound, disembarking people from all over. So these guys disembarked here, they disembarked there. The command squad, the commander and that squad disembarked from here. There's going to be a lot of fire into this prince and this Lord of Contagion, hopefully in the shooting phase. This Russ has backed out slightly, calling in support from its fellow tankies, and they are going to be putting some fire into the plague drones and trying to neutralise them the best they can. Over here, the Vanquisher is also reversed, getting a bit too close for comfort there with the Plague Bearers. We need a bit more distance while we resolve other conflicts. Demolisher here has also moved slightly to get a better firing arc down there, and also once again to keep away from the Plague Bearers. The 2 Hellhounds have moved out and they're taking up this flank, hopefully just to kind of divert some fire, but we will see. So we're going to move on. We've got no psychic because you know, we don't trust witches. So we're going to go straight into shooting, and let's hope the Emperor protects. Right, turn 1 shooting for the guard. So we had a lot of fire coming in. This squad here fired what they had into the Lord of Contagion. Didn't do anything onto this guy here. We also had both of the Tauroxes opening up everything they had. The Gattlers didn't really do anything to this guy, but the autocannons did some damage. So he's on to 4 wounds at the moment. We pretty much ignored the Demon Prince for most of it, to be fair, accepting that he will be getting into combat. These guys here also fired, Plasmas also fired as well, and yeah, did almost nothing to him there. Over here, however, the Punisher opened up, fired its las cannon down there, reducing the Decimator down to 2 wounds. The multi-melters and the Punisher cannon fired in here. We're taking one of these plague drones all the way down to 1. It was also fired upon by the Exterminators here. Both of these fired in what they could to support, but unfortunately there's still one on 1 wound and the other one's still on full strength. Moving across, we have these 2 here. A bit of split fire. The Vanquisher here fired into the Rhino and did a fair bit of damage. I think it did, yeah, 6 wounds onto the Rhino. The Leman Russ here split its fire to a degree. The Demolisher cannon fired over towards these guys, didn't do anything. The plasma cannons and the las cannon fired in and took it down to 1 wound there. So not a great deal of stuff on the first turn, but to be fair, there was a lot of damage handed out, just nothing finished off. So we're going to move on to turn 2 for the forces of Nurgle, and they are angry, angry people. Right, turn 2 movement for the forces of Nurgle, and the Rhino here has disembarked its troops. The guys are pushed up, the Rhinos then moved up beside them to try and give them a bit of cover. Lord of Contagions pushed up here to engage the squad of Stormtroopers. Same here with Demon Prince. Moving over to the centre, the Decimator is not happy. He is charged up the middle here, followed here by the cultists, yelling and screaming, charging towards the Punisher, and hoping to get some horrible bloody revenge. Moving across, under the bridge here, we've got a swarm of Plague Bearers, and they are closing the gap between themselves and the tanks there. The Herald did advance up. He's just fighting alongside them now, getting ready to join in for any future engagements. The squad of Plague Marines over here, they disembarked from their Rhino and have pushed up towards Demolisher here. And the Rhino, its last efforts, going for the Hellhounds again. So we're going to move on to turn 2, psychic and shooting, and see what the Death Guard are going to bring as they get ever so closer to the guard lines. Turn 2, psychic and shooting for Nurgle. Over here, the Demon Prince cast Smite on the Scions there, killing all but 2 of them there. The squad of Plague Marines here fired what they had, plasma guns, fired, both plasma guns split and fired 2 different Tauroxes. Didn't do anything there. The bolt gun fire though came in and ripped apart the Scions that are there, leaving just the Sergeant. These Plague drones fired what they had into this Russ, unable to do anything there. Although the Decimator, he fired his butcher cannon, taking this Russ down to 5 wounds. Nasty stuff. And the flamer as well went in. Over here, the Plague Marines fired, overcharged their plasma guns, fired in, one killed himself, bolt guns, bolt pistols as well fired, and did nothing to the Russ there. And that was it for shooting. We're going to move on to assault. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bit of assaulting, and let's see what the Nurgle forces are able to do now they've got ever so close. Turn to assault for the forces of Nurgle. The Lord of Contagion quite easily cut apart the Scions that were in combat there. Over here, Demon Prince charged into both the Taurox and the squad there, both holding on just. He's past his leadership, and this thing is on 7 wounds at the moment, so holding in. This got a Death Guard. They charged into the remaining Scion Tempestus there, and they killed him quite quickly. The Plague Drones killed off the Russ and have consolidated towards the Punisher. The Punisher was able to take out the Decimator. When it charged in, every gun lit up and just easily just popped him. He's gone. Across this part of the battlefield, the Plague Bearers managed to charge in. Unfortunately, though, they were unable to do anything. They're just beating their weapons against the hull of the Russ. And over here, the Plague Bearers failed their charge. And very finally, the Rhino attempted one last ditch effort into the Hellhounds, and the Inferno Cannon just incinerated the crew inside, leaving just a husk. So, bit of a mixed assault there. We're going to move on to turn 2 for Guard, and hopefully they're able to kind of push back this plague tide. Turn 2 for the Astra Militarum, and in the movement phase here, both the Taurox and the remaining Scion have fallen back from the Demon Prince. Same over here as well, the Command Squad and the Commander have fallen back, as well as the Taurox there. Punisher holds its own. It's standing in the middle quite defiantly, facing off against a swarm of cultists and the Plague Drones, as well as those Plague Marines there. Both these Leman Russ remain stationary to put supporting fire wherever they're needed. The Tank Commander and his Vanquishers reversed slightly to take a look at what he's facing against here, and it's not a pretty thing to face. Demolisher as well has moved back here, and both the Hellhounds, now finished off the Rhino, have come across. Hopefully these two should be able to deal with them, but we will see. So we're going to move on to turn 2 shooting for the Guard, and hopefully there should be a few less of these. Turn 2 shooting for the Guard, and his Taurox still has a bit of life in it, doing a 3rd wound onto Demon Prince, which is being quite persistent in his attacks. Moving across, all these guys can shoot, of course, because they've all fallen back. The Punisher here, he put a lot of firepower into the Plague Drone there, killing off one of the Plague Drones. The Gatler then fired onto these guys, killing off a couple more, putting his squad down to 4. They passed the morale check just about, so they're quite fortunate. They're still hanging on there. These guys also fired in. They split their fire between the Plague Drone and the Heavy Bolters fired onto the Plague Marines. So as you can see, there's a fair dent in there. That's definitely blunted their attack for now. Over here, the Demolisher fired its main cannon and the las cannon into the Plague Marines down here. There's only 1 Marine standing now, because they took fire from both the Hellhounds. The Hellhounds also fired their Heavy Bolters, the Heavy Stubbers, at the Demons. So the Demons took 3 casualties, I believe. So they took a little bit, but it wasn't really concentrated fire. So definitely this guy's going to be in trouble in next turn, and these guys are still a threat. They're definitely getting closer. So a good shooting turn. We've got no assault for the Guard. Turn 3 movement for the forces of Nurgle. So these Plague Bearers are pushing up. They're trying to take this Vanquisher on and definitely have a better round of a combat, unlike previously. This Plague Marine trying to avenge his fallen brothers, going up against this Demolisher here, hopefully to get some lucky shots in. The Herald still hanging back there, Possibly a dangerous location for him at the moment, but we will see. Moving across, the plague drone here is flown over. He is probably going to light up the exterminator or maybe the Taurox. There's plenty of targets around. He can pick what he wants. The Rhino looks like he's coming in for a ramming attack onto the Punisher. The squad of cultists are lining up. They're looking for vision slits just to shoot into the Leman Russ and take that out of action. The 4 Plague Marines, surviving the onslaught from the Gatling cannon, have now moved up to engage the commander and his retinue there. Over here, we have got the Lord of Contagion. He's getting closer to the Taurox, trying to get rid of these. They're definitely a threat, the amount of firepower they can pump in. And the Demon Prince there, he's getting in close again. He's aiming to take him out. He's on 1 wound, he's done 3 wounds to the Demon Prince. He definitely wants to take him out of action. So we're going to move on to turn 3, Psychic and Shooting for the forces of Nurgle, and it's going to be horrible for the Guard. Turn 3, Psychic and Shooting. Demon Prince here cast Smite and killed off the Taurox. I'm sure he had a bit of a cackle as he did so. Over here we had some Plasma Fire and Bolt of Fire. The Plasma Fire went into the Taurox, did 2 wounds. The Bolt of Fire didn't do anything to this squad here. The Plague Drone was able to finally take out the Punisher there, but as the Punisher blew up, he killed a cultist, did some wounds onto the Rhino, and also did some wounds onto the Plague Drone there, so some nasty stuff. The only other shooting the Nurgle forces were able to commit to this turn was this plasma gun overcharging, firing in there, missing, but not killing himself. So I'm sure he's going to try something, possibly in the assault phase. So we're going to move on to turn 3 assault and see if the Nurgle forces are able to do more this time. Turn 3 assault, and these guys charged in here, killed off 1 of the command squad, but they held their own there. The Tempestus Prime was able to inflict 2 wounds, but the power armor was able to protect the Death Guard there. Over here, the Taurox Prime is survived. I used 2 of my command points for a reroll, otherwise it would have been down to 2 and susceptible for the Demon Prince, so it's holding on there. The Scion though was quite easily smashed up against the Taurox and killed. Moving across here, no damage really going on here. Once again, the Plague Bearers are beating their weapons against the hulls of the Russ, and the Russes are not letting them in. So that was it for turn 3 for the Death Guard. We're going to move on now to turn 3 for Guard, and there's going to be a lot of firepower going back towards them. Turn 3 movement for the Guard, and it's a general retreat in particular areas. Here the Taurox Prime is broken combat again. He's just on the edge, and hopefully the plan is to make the Demon Prince or give Lord of Contagion kind of go after him rather than keep going along the flank. This command squad have fallen back slightly. I've got to do my medic rule for them, so on a 4+, they regain a member of the squad. Nope, they didn't, so never mind. Taurox Prime, which was here, has withdrawn. He's now behind the Rust there. Oh, pretty much all these guys have stayed still, except for the Hellhounds, which are now coming back in from the cold, and they're going to heat things up. They're going to set these horrible, horrible things on fire in future turns, hopefully. So we're going to move on to turn 3 shooting, and let's hope some of the Nurgle filth is going to be removed from the battlefield. Turn 3 shooting for the Astra Militarum. Right, so over here the Banewolf here killed off the last Plague Marine. The Hellhound was then freed up to fire on the Herald, and the Infernal Cannon just set him aflame. There's a horrible, horrible stench, even more so now, around this area as his corpse writhes and it's all over the floor. It's nasty. Demolisher was unable to shoot anything this turn. Basically, these guys are still engaged. Didn't move them out. which might be a bit of a problem in a moment. These guys fired in, heavy bolters fired into the Plague Marines, and the autocannons fired into the drone. Did a bit of damage to the drone, taking it down to 7 wounds. And did we kill any of the Plague Marines? I don't think we killed any of the Plague Marines there. So that is it for my shooting turn 3. We're going to go into Assault, where the Plague Bearers are going to have another round of beating the heck out of my Leman Russ. And let's see what they can do. Turn 3 Assault for the Guard. And yeah, the Plague Bearers were able to do some damage, taking the Russ down here to 10 wounds. The Russ kind of reversed over a couple, but unfortunately they got back up. So that was that. We're going to move on to turn 4 for the Forces of Nurgle. And let's see if they've still got enough momentum to carry on this assault over here. Right, turn 4 movement for the Forces of Nurgle. So the Demon Prince here is taking on this Taurox here. The Lord of Contagion is kind of shuffling along here to face the command squad with those Plague Marines. The Rhino and the drone are going over towards the other tanks here, and the cultists are just edging forward still. They don't want to be taken out. They're sending the demons and the Marines first. Very clever cultists. And that is pretty much it. These guys are still engaged in combat. We're going to move on to Psychic and Shooting turn 4 for the Forces of Nurgle. Right, so on to turn 4, Shooting and Psychic. So we had a Smite go off here, taking the Taurox down to 3 wounds. Coming along here, we had some firepower, taking out 2 more of the command squad there, leaving just 1 and the commander. Over here, nothing happened here, unfortunately, but we got a super smite off from the Plaguecaster back here. Got an 11, and he did a lot of damage on here, so down to 5 with the Leman Russ. He also took fire from the cultists, firing their auto guns. It did a bit of damage, but the armor was pretty much able to protect it most of the time. So we're going to move on to turn 4 Assault for Nurgle, and let's see what they can do to us. Turn 4 Assault for the Forces of Nurgle. So this squad here, they were able to kill off the command squad and the commander there with a Lord of Contagion. Quite easily be able to decapitate the Tempestus Prime there. Over here, Demon Prince finished off the last Taurox of just about doing enough wounds to him. Nothing happened here as they got them charged in. And nothing happened here as well. So we're going to move on to turn 4 for Guard. And let's hope they're able to strike back at the Nurgle forces. Turn 4 movement for the Astra Militarum. The Leman Russ is reversed out. We're going to do as much damage as we possibly can to these demons here with both the Hellhounds, ignoring their -1 to hits. It should be quite nasty. We've got a Leman Russ here as well. He is able to put a bit of firepower possibly into this Rhino, depending how it goes. These two are going to put as much firepower they can into this drone, also possibly into the Rhino or the cultists, we will see. Taurox has once again reversed out. It's got to keep surviving. So we're going to move on to turn 4 Shooting, and hopefully we'll remove some demons from this place. Right, turn 4 Shooting for the Guard, and we did 4. Only did 4 off this squad here. A little bit sad. We had 5 from the Hellhounds and from the Demolisher as well, and he killed 4 very sad times. Over here, both the Exterminators split fire between the Plague Bearers, the drone and the cultists. We killed 4 cultists off, and we did 2 more wounds onto the drone there, so firing was quite poor this turn. We've got no assault, so we're going to move on to turn 5 for the Forces of Nurgle. Turn 5 movement for the Forces of Nurgle, and they seem to be consolidating over here now. Going to hold their own and probably put some firepower into the Guard. This Rhino moving up to protect those remaining members of squads there. The cultists still pushing forwards, and over here the Plague Bearers coming in for another charge on the Vanquisher. They are definitely driven here. So we're going to move on to turn 5 Psychic and Shooting for the Forces of Nurgle. Turn 5, psychic and shooting. Right, so these guys fired everything they had here into the rust, destroying that. The combi bolter and the cultists were then able to take this guy down to 1 wound here. So we're going to move on to assault in turn 5 for the plague bearers and see what these guys are going to do. Right, turn 5 assault for Nurgle, and these guys charged in again, taking a couple of wounds off, but the Leman Russ is still holding strong there. So we're going to move on to turn 5 for guard and see if they are able to do some nasty, nasty damage. Fingers crossed. Turn 5 movement for guard, and it's all or nothing here. So the Hellhounds are pushed up along this building. They're going to put some fire into the cultists and into the plague bearers there. Demolisher's pushed up as well, lining up some shots down the field here. Also the Taurox is remaining where it is. The Russ is just kind of pivoted on the spot here and aiming down there. And this one's withdrawn here to kind of free himself up. So we're going to move on to turn 5 shooting for guard. Okay, so the end of turn 5 shooting for guard. We're able to take out this cultist squad here with fire from the Hellhound here and the Gatler. They completely obliterated that squad there. We have fire coming in from all here and killed off, I think that's 6 of the plague bearers there. And that was about it. All the rest of the fire kind of bounced off of things, so not particularly that great, unfortunately, this turn. So we're going to call it there, as the night is kind of upon us now, unfortunately. So we're going to come back with the scores in 1 moment. Right, so at the end of turn 5, the final scores are in. It is 5 points for the guard, and it is 7 points for the plague forces. So it is a narrow victory for the forces of Nurgle. I think we've both agreed if the game had continued, it might have gone the other way.
Absolutely.
But it was a very, very fun game, a good mission, definitely a hard slog, and yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Daryl, do you have a unit of the match at all?
Ooh, I think again it's the same as the one I had against Tom, the Lord of Contagion. Just whatever he goes up against, he smacks down, he kills it.
Yeah.
So he's very tough, very nasty.
Yeah, he killed a lot of the Stormtroopers there, so all the Stormtroopers pretty much fell to him, or the Demon Prince, really. For myself, it would probably be the, I would say the Hellhounds, but they didn't really get many hits off. They got like 1s and 2s a lot with the Flamers and the Chem Cannon there. But it'd probably be the Tauroxes. The Tauroxes, a very nice amount of shots they were piling out, was definitely quite formidable. So I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe or give us a like. Please leave a comment below. And this is Dom from BlackToad Studios. Take care.